Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Amma ba'd. For we finalize inshallah the chapter today, the dislike of seeking hadith in order to boast, hold gatherings or gain followers and companions through narrations. And we remind that it is important to understand the words of the scholars holistically, not parts, not out of context. We need to understand all of it. We went through some of the statements of some of the ulama that spoke in a way that could be understood that seeking knowledge is bad, or seeking knowledge of hadith is bad. This is, if you're going to take these on its own, you're going to fall into a lot of issues when you come to understand Islamic knowledge. But what the point of the scholars when they said these statements was not to be a person who seeks a lot of knowledge, tabarakah has a lot of knowledge, knows a lot of hadith, knows a lot of matters in fiqh, etc., and doesn't implement it. What is the benefit of your knowledge then? All you're doing is increasing the evidences against you. We need to understand things in the broader context. And this is why it's very important that when you read or you study, you do it under the supervision of scholars or students of knowledge that have learned from the scholars. Otherwise, you could fall into major errors. Major errors. Even the chapter that's going to come with us next, inshallah, about the studying of the Arabic language, you hear some words of the ulama where they speak badly against it. And a person may think, you know what, the ulama said it's bad to seek knowledge of the Arabic language. Incorrect. One of the conditions for you to start seeking knowledge properly is for you to know the Arabic language. But you have to understand in its context. In its context. When Al-Khateeb Al-Baghdaadee rahimahullah is bringing these points, you have to get back to what's the point of the book. The whole point of the book is for a person not implementing his knowledge is bad. A person not implementing his knowledge is bad. All of the book is around that topic. So he's not going to bring you the importance of studying the Arabic language and the benefits that you get from studying the Arabic language and the praise for the Arabic language and the conditions, in the first condition of being a mujtahid is the Arabic language. He said he's not going to talk about that. Rather, he's going to talk about the negative aspects of people studying the Arabic language and how it moves them away from implementation of knowledge. That part is bad. As for the rest, that's good. Okay, and this you find in other books of seeking knowledge and the etiquette of seeking knowledge, etc. The main point is to understand the all in context. تفضل يا عبد الرحمن. Saad. Can you turn these lights on, please?
Number 140. I heard Abu Abdullah Ahmad bin Hanbal mention the saying of Shu'bah, I do not fear that then anything will enter me into the hellfire except for this, meaning the hadith. So he, Imam Ahmad said, know that he was truthful in his actions, or something with this meaning.
نعم. تعلم أنه كان صادقا. You know through that statement that he was honest. Imam Ahmad, Shu'bah, these are Imam of hadith. These are Imam hadith. What does he mean by, you know through that statement that he was truthful? Same thing so that no one misunderstands the narrations before it. That don't seek the knowledge of hadith or don't see in the gatherings of hadith. When he's saying, I fear that nothing will put me in the hellfire except the hadith that I have. What does he mean? That seeking knowledge of hadith is bad? Obviously not. Meaning I've got that much evidence against me that I'm worried that me being deficient in implementing that knowledge might lead me to the hellfire. And it doesn't mean by it, no one seek knowledge. It means I have now extra added responsibility in order for me to seek this knowledge. In order for me to implement this knowledge, my apologies. The exact same example you can give for someone that has wealth. Imagine now a person, he sits and he works and he gathers and he enjoys. When he wants to get wealth, he wants more and he wants more and he wants more and he wants more. If he was thinking like this mindset, he would say to himself, I fear that nothing would enter me into the hellfire except this wealth that I have. Not that the wealth itself is bad, but I've got that much wealth, alhamdulillah, that I'm going to be asked about every cent. Where did I get it and how did I spend it? So now I've got increased wealth, which is increased responsibility. Now, that person that has increased wealth, yes, he's got increased responsibility, but he also has what? Increased? Starts with O. Rhymes with responsibility. Opportunity, almost said it. He's got increased responsibility, yes, but he also has increased opportunity. So he's got more wealth. And he's going to be asked about that wealth. But at the same time, this individual with more wealth has more opportunity to do good. he can build masajid, he can build orphanages, he can support students of knowledge, he can help the sick, poor and needy, etc. So yes, you've got more responsibility, you've got more risk, but you also have a lot more opportunity to do good. The same thing with knowledge. This is the whole point of these statements. You have more responsibility, you have more knowledge, you need to implement more. But now you have more you have more opportunity also. The more that you know, the more you can implement. The more that you know, the more you can teach. The more that you know, the stronger your iman is, etc. So it doesn't mean don't seek knowledge. No, just make sure that you implement your knowledge. Continue.
Number 141. Number 141. Shababa rahimahullah narrated to us saying, I entered into the presence of Shu'bah on the day in which he died, and he was crying. So I said to him, what is this mourning about, O Abu Bustan? Be happy, for you have a high position in Islam. So he said, leave me alone. I wish that I were the heat kindler for the steam bath areas, and that I didn't know the hadith.
Now, same thing. This is not talking about realistically, it's talking metaphorically. Okay, metaphorically. Not that he actually would prefer to leave being a scholar for being someone with a simple job, but he's talking out of their humility. Out of their humility, them being humble. That they don't know what their ending is going to be. Like the other scholars that say, I wish I could leave this dunya regarding my knowledge being even. I don't have any evidences against me or for me in the sense that I don't have anything, I haven't done anything wrong, even if I haven't done a million hasanat. As long as I'm safe, I'm happy. As long as I just enter Jannah, I'm happy. They don't mean by it that they don't hope for the high levels of Jannah, but because out of their fear and their humility, if they get by safely, they're happy. And this is the same thing again with these statements. Not that he actually wishes he wasn't from the people of Hadith. The people of Hadith have from the highest of statuses in Islam. And the scholars have from the highest of status in Islam. And in the hereafter, they're implementing their knowledge. They have from the highest of statuses in the paradise. But, again, from their humility, them being humble, they mention these types of statements out of their fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the fear of, a'yadhan billah, entering the hellfire. Continue.
Number 142. Muhammad bin Harun Abu Nasheed Al-Harbi said, Bishr al-Harith once met me on the road, so he forbade me from Hadeeth and its people. And I came to Yahya bin Sa'id al-Qattan, so it was conveyed to me that he said, I love this young man and at the same time I hate him. So it was said to him, why do you love him and hate him? So he said, I love him because of his madhab, that is beliefs, but I hate him because of his seeking after the hadith.
نعم. أحب لمذهبه هي مذهب not مذهب فقهي مذهب عقدي that is from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and this is from the love of the ulama for that which Allah Azza wa Jalla loves, and this is known as wala and bara, that you love that which Allah Azza wa Jalla loves and you hate that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates. You meet someone who's on the path of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, you love this person. You love this person. As for the ones that are upon the ways of innovation, then you hate them according to their innovation. This is very important to differentiate, and it's from the highest levels of a person's iman, for a person to love what Allah Azza wa Jalla loves and to hate what Allah Azza wa Jalla hates. And again, here when he talks about the seeking of hadith and him warning him from seeking hadith, it is not talking about the science literally, but the severe warning of not implementing one's knowledge. Continue.
Number 143. Bishr al-Harith rahimahullah said, if you want to benefit from the hadith, do not amass many of them, and do not seek in the gatherings of the people of hadith.
Why? You should be able to answer now. Why?
So you can absorb what you already know.
Good, so you can absorb what you already know and make sure you implement it. The more that you have, the harder it becomes. But if you have an amount of hadith and you implement it, what should you do now? Increase. Okay, you should increase. But a person who his only concern is to go and to see and to listen to all of the hadith that are available. Again, in Australia, we're fuqara. We're masakin. We're extremely poor people in Australia when it comes to knowledge. When it comes to, alhamdulillah, wealth and money and luxuries, tabarakallah, our bellies are full. But when it comes to knowledge, wallah, we're extremely poor people. Some countries overseas, Allahumma barik, you see, every day of the week, you can go and sit in a majlis of hadith. And sometimes you see the students, they'll go from one place to another, and they'll listen to a hadith. Yani 1 week they could be listening to hundreds of hadith, literally. Hundreds of hadith. The question, did you implement that which came in it? That's the scary part. That's the important part. Did you implement that which came in it? If you didn't implement it, then there's an issue. There's an issue. Some of the, even here in Australia, some of the students, you find them, they go to this sheikh and they go to this sheikh and they go to this sheikh, which is excellent. Seeking knowledge in itself is excellent. But you find that person is not improving. That's a bad sign. How are you a person who is attending multiple lessons a week, and at the end of it, you're still the same person you were, not at the beginning of the same person you were 6 months ago or a year ago. You haven't changed, your character hasn't changed, your dress hasn't changed, your haircut hasn't changed, your speech hasn't changed, your work hasn't changed. How then are you benefiting from that knowledge? What are you doing in those gatherings of knowledge? Are you there simply to sit and enjoy the company? Are you there to enjoy the jokes? Are you there to enjoy the food before or after? What is it? What is the reason you are attending? If the response is, I want to go and I want to learn, mumtaz, pause. You want to learn and do what of your knowledge? I want to learn in order for me to implement. Make sure they're implementing them. Again, we don't tell someone who's seeking knowledge to stop seeking knowledge. We don't tell people that. But we tell people, make sure that you rectify your affairs. Just like if a person says, I don't know if I'm sincere in my seeking of knowledge. We don't say to him, stop, and then go, when you become sincere, come again. No. We say, continue seeking knowledge, but fix your intention. Same thing with the actions. Continue seeking knowledge, but fix your actions. Make sure you are actually implementing your knowledge. Continue.
Number 144. Ishaq bin Abdayf, rahimahullah, narrated to us saying, Bishr bin al-Harith said to me, you have come often to sit in gatherings with me, and now I have something I need from you. You are a possessor of hadith, and I am afraid that they will corrupt my heart. So I would like it if you did not come back to me. So I didn't go back to him after that.
For what reason? For what reason? Why didn't you want him to continue sitting with him? وَإِنَّكَ صَاحِبُ حَدِيث. You are a person of hadith. Yalla. Why didn't he want him to continue the gathering sitting with him? No. The same thing that we've been saying for the past 7 weeks. Yalla Abdul Rahman. Regain some of that honor.
So he's probably warning him about learning from as in Harb, Bishr al-Harith.
Read the statement again.
Bishr al-Harith said to me, Bishr bin al-Harith said to me, you have come often to sit in gatherings with me, and now I have something I need from you. You are a possessor of hadith, and I am afraid that they will corrupt my heart. So I would like it if you did not come back to me. So I didn't go back to him.
Who's asking who to stay away from him, and for whose benefit? Bishr ibn al-Harith.
Is he the teacher?
He's the teacher.
So
He's telling the other one, stay away from me. Why?
He's got enough knowledge to implement.
No.
Because he's taught him a lot of hadith, so he's worried that he's teaching.
Because he's the one teaching him now, he's benefiting from hadith from him. He's going to bring evidences against him, Bishr. Bishr is the one that's scared now. He's saying, you're a person of hadith. And when you come and mashallah, you're sitting Allah, what are you doing? You're narrating a hadith, you're mentioning a hadith, etc. So what's it causing to me? It's causing me hardship. Not in the sense that, wallah, I don't want your gathering, or your gathering isn't a blessed one, or your words aren't good. But now the evidences are piling up on me. Every time you narrate a hadith, what do I need to do? I need to make sure I implement the hadith now. So he's saving his own soul from it. He's saving his own self from it. Again, the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with these ulama. Not that, wallah, they don't want the benefit. Every alim wants the benefit. That's why they're ulama in the first place. They could have stopped seeking knowledge from day dot. They wanted to seek knowledge because they knew the lofty status of the ulama. But it goes back to the matter of them not wanting to add on evidences against themselves. You hear many statements like from Al-Bukhari or Imam Ahmad, rahimahumullah. that they did not narrate one hadith except that they implemented it. At least once in their life. They tried to do the exact same thing the Prophet ﷺ done. And this is not an easy feat. This is not an easy feat. This is extremely hard. This is extremely hard. But this is why, if you look at Islamic history, why certain ulama are far above others. Part of it is because of the implementation of that knowledge. And you often hear in the mentioning of bigger ulama that we always hear about how strong their ibadah was. How strong their ibadah was. Continue.
Number 145. I heard Ibrahim bin Hani
Hani.
Hani
Hani.
Hani
Hani. Hamza.
Hani An-Nasaa'ee say, I heard Bishr bin al-Harith say, rahimahullah, what is there for me and for the hadith? What is there for me and for the hadith? Verily, it is only a fitna trial, except for those who intend the sake of Allah by it. He also said, and Bishr said, they say, indeed I forbid that hadith we saw, but I say that there is nothing more virtuous than it, for he who acts on it, but when one fails to act on it, abandoning it is what is more virtuous.
Again, this is Bishr speaking. Saying the people say that I warn against a hadith. No, incorrect. I'm not warning against a hadith. But if a person doesn't implement it, then for him to leave a hadith is better for him. As for if a person implements a hadith, then there's nothing better than it. If a person goes and studies the science of hadith or studies a hadith and implements it, then there's nothing better for him. Now, again, to understand the statements of the ulama in context. Continue.
Number 146. Muhammad bin Yusuf al-Jawhari reported to us saying, I once said to Bishr bin al-Harith, shall I convey the greeting of salam to Abdul Walid al-Tayalisi from you? This was since I wanted to...
Abu al-Walid, not Abdul Walid. Abu al-Walid. Allah yahdik.
Abu al-Walid al-Tayalisi from you. This was since I wanted to set out for Basra. So he said to me, indeed, Abu al-Walid will die and you too will die. Do you want for it to be said, he heard, rather you have already heard, hadith? Look at what you have heard. For indeed, if you do not act upon it, it will be a curse for you on the day of judgment.
Yeah. Again, so some people say, okay, I want to do this book, I want to do that book. I have a lot of students, they say, Sheikh, can you teach us this book, can you teach us that book? And you look and you say, I mean, with all due respect, I don't mean it in a bad way. You didn't say to the person what you think in your mind. You should not be asking, can I do any book? You should go do a revision of what you've already taken and ensure you implement it. Ensure you implement it. And I'll give like the biggest and clearest example is akhlaq. The biggest and the clearest example is akhlaq. A person, he would have went through this book and this book and this book and this book and this book, and all of them speak about the importance of good character. And at the end of it, you find students have good character. That's the most obvious one. What about other acts of worship? Sometimes you see a person, he'll be at home for no reason. Okay, he won't go pray in the masjid. And he'll live very close to the masjid. Why? Or he won't pray in jama'ah. Why? Or in his dress. Sometimes he'll wear things that he shouldn't wear. Or wear it in a way which is not appropriate. Or his haircut. Why? You want to seek knowledge, which is excellent. Everyone wants to learn. Excellent. But make sure that you're implementing the things which you're learning. Otherwise, wallah, Shaykh, can I study this book with you? Can I do private classes? Can I do this? Can I do that? At the end of it, why? A person needs to make sure that he's implementing that which he knows. And that is, again, this is the role of a murabbi. The alim, it shouldn't just be a shaykh that teaches. Okay, he's not, wallah, Google. He should be a murabbi. He should be a person that nurtures the students. And Imam Malik, rahimahullah, was known for this. Now, where he would, there'd be punishment. Imam Malik he had a lot of authority in the government. So even when the Amir wanted to come and to sit in his lesson, they bring the chair for the Amir to sit on, and he said, no, you have to sit on the floor. And he got the Amir to sit on the floor. Now, this is a gathering of knowledge, Habibi. Not, wallah, anyone comes and does what he wants. No, you're allowed to sit on the chair if you have a reason, that you should. Now, but we're talking about someone who wanted to come and for position. He wanted to come for position. That's why he sits on a chair. Imam Malik, no. Imam Malik would, when he was asked to give like private lessons for the children of the leaders, he would say, "Al-ilmu yu'ta wa la ya'ti." Knowledge is, you have to go to knowledge. It doesn't come to you. Okay, there was tarbiyah in it. Wallah, like, well, it's very sad nowadays. Like, it's almost like we're going to have to like pay people soon to come to the lesson. You're like, here's $20, come sit in the lesson for an hour, please. It's sad. Again, because people have run away from knowledge. But in a time where a person has the ability, no, he needs to nurture the students. And inshallah, if you guys become mashayikh and ulama, inshallah in the future, this is very important to keep in mind. There are certain students that you can be more strict on. Like Abdul Rahman, when I verbally abuse Abdul Rahman, inshallah he's fine. He still comes back every week, inshallah. I'm worried, masalan, if I verbally abuse Mustafa gets caught because he's from Punchbowl and he says, La, I don't want to talk to you anymore and I'm not coming back next week. And khalas, it's finished. Assalamu alaikum. Naam, and he puts a post on Instagram about me and my wife show. Different people are different. Some people you can say, La, you're not allowed to be like that. You have to do this. Some you can force them. No, go cut your hair. Go put on a thobe. You can do that. Naam. And if, wallah, your teacher, alhamdulillah, is that you're at a point with your teacher where you're at that level, this is excellent. This is excellent because at least you're getting what you actually need. Not just, wallah, the theoretic knowledge. Now you're getting the implementation of that theory also. So this is a very, very, very important matter that, inshallah, if you get to that level or you have students, that you're able to do that, inshallah. Continue.
Number 147. Muhammad bin Ayyub narrated to us saying, one day Abu al-Walid said, what do they want from these ahadith except to amass them? For the one who truly fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only a little of it suffices him, or something with this meaning. Then he said, it may be that one of them gathers the hadith with his chain of narration, and so on and so forth, just so that he can turn the people's faces towards him, or something to that effect.
No, a little here, okay, just so we understand, a little doesn't mean, wallah, the person knows one or two hadith, this is enough. Talking about he knows enough for him to implement his religion properly. So for you to know how to pray properly, for you to know how to be with your wife, for you to know how to raise your children, for you to know what's halal haram in work, this is considered a little in the Sharia. Jayyid. But do you now need to know all of Islamic history? Do you now need to know all of the different virtues in a hadith? Do you need to know all of the sunan that a person implements? No, you don't need to get a lot and a lot and a lot. For you to know that which you need in order to worship Allah properly, that's enough for you. The person who is being blamed here is the one who just wants to amass. A person that just wants to amass and it's not sincere. He wants people to say, Tabarakallah, this guy's a sheikh, Tabarakallah, this guy's get with this book, Tabarakallah, this guy's gone through this science, etc. As I mentioned, one of the examples of one of the people, and subhanAllah, he came into my mind today, again, when we went through one of the other narrations that will come with us, inshallah, where he wants to tell you he studied with this person. It's not a matter of who you studied with. Or I went through this book with this person. It's not a matter of who you studied with or what book you went with or what book you studied or how many hadith you've memorized or how many different narrations you've memorized the Quran in. What is important is your implementation of that knowledge. If you don't have the trait of a student of knowledge, then have you everything that you had, what does it equate to? If you don't implement what you know. If people run away from you, if everyone hates you because your akhlaq is that bad, inshallah you've memorized all the books of hadith. Inshallah you've memorized all the books of hadith, but everyone hates you because of your bad character. Don't you ever say, you know what, the Prophet ﷺ said, from the worst of people, is the one who the people stay away from out of fear from his bad. Ittiqa' sharrihi. They stay away from him, why? Because of how bad he is. Every time you sit with him, there's either a fight or an argument, or after he spreads rumors. That hadith should be enough for you. That no one wants to do with you. Because of your bad character. But la, because of his stubbornness, I've studied here and I've studied there and I've done this and I've done that. What did you benefit from it? These are the types of things that the ulama are warning against. It's not just about wallah gathering. Al-Hakum al-Takathur, part of it falls under, one of the examples also given is knowledge. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that gathering has Al-Hakum busied you. Now, that gathering has busied you. From what? A lot of people, they talk about, for example, matters of dunya. This is obviously the common. People going out to work and trying to amass as much money as possible. This has moved them away from the worship of Allah. What's worse than that? One of the things is a person using knowledge in order to move him away from the worship of Allah. And instead of him learning in order to implement to get better, he learns, ayadun billah, and gets worse. Which one is better? The one who went and dunya moved him away from the proper worship of Allah, or a person who the deen moved him away from the worship of Allah? Continue. Again, it's not a warning. To correct answer, it's not a warning not to seek knowledge. It's just a warning or a reminder to seek knowledge properly.
Number 148. I heard Abu Bakr bin Abdullah bin Ja'far, that is the tradesman, say, I heard Ahmad bin Hanbal say when he was asked about a man that writes a hadith and records many of them. He is required to produce many deeds due to them, in accordance with how much he has accumulated of them, that is the hadith. Then he said, the outcomes of knowledge are the same as the outcomes of wealth. When wealth increases, the zakat that is due for it also increases.
This is a beautiful statement again that summarizes what we're talking about. It's a beautiful summary. Just like you get more money, your responsibility for zakat increases. You get more knowledge, your responsibility for actions also increase. Very simple formula. Very simple formula. And so if you find, let's say you're a million, mashallah, you got $1 million today. So your zakat would be how much? How much? Allahumma barik. Say, this is a person who, Allahu Alam, has $1 million. I'm the one who answers quick that question. Allahumma barik, you know that tabarakallah is doing all right. Tayyib. So, if you have $1 million today, and you're giving $25,000 in zakat, if next year you've got $2 million, and you're still paying $25,000 zakat, is there an issue or there's no issue? There's a big issue. Okay, it means you've done something wrong. How can your wealth go up but your zakat didn't go up? Same thing with knowledge. Same thing with knowledge. If last year your ibadah, your akhlaq, your deen, your iman, etc. was on a certain level, and mashallah the past year you've been seeking knowledge. You've been seeking knowledge, you've been coming to lessons, but you are the same as you were last year. And that's a sign that something is wrong. Something is wrong. Worse than that, and this is very common in Australia. Very common in Australia. If you gave $1 million, if you had $1 million, so your zakat was $25,000. The next year you had $2 million, but you end up giving $15,000 in zakat. That's even a worse problem. How did your money go up but your zakat became less? That's a massive issue. That's what we found with a lot of brothers, unfortunately. At the beginning, they try and get a bit better, beautiful. But then they get to a point where their knowledge goes up, but the ibadah actually goes down. The ibadah actually goes down. The acts of worship go down. Their character becomes worse. Their friends become worse. The environment that they're in becomes worse. Their marriage life becomes worse. What they accept from their wife becomes worse. What they accept with their children becomes worse, etc. Part of the reason for that is that a person gets happy with the level that he's at. So you get to a point at the beginning, let's say you're not religious, and then Allah Azza wa Jal opens up the doors of deen for you. So alhamdulillah, you start to learn the religion, and naturally now you want to pray better, you want to pray sunnah better, you want to start to learn to read Quran, etc. So you get a little bit better. Your iman's gone up. After 6 months to a year, it starts to plateau. Everything becomes, khalas, you pray now, you pray according to the sunnah, in your understanding. You pray your sunnah prayer sometimes, you know halal and haram, you don't do riba, you come to the masjid sometimes. So, it becomes plateau, your deen becomes plateau. It's not going up, it's not going down, it becomes set. You become happy at this level. When you become happy, you become content at a certain level, what ends up happening? Now your heart starts to get a little bit hard, because you're not thinking about improving anymore. You're not thinking about improving anymore, so your mindset's changed. At the beginning, you weren't religious. So now when you come into deen, everything's up. You want to get religious, you want to learn, you want to change all the bad habits that you have. But now that you're at a decent level, you think, alhamdulillah, I'm content now. When you feel that you're content, what ends up happening? After a very short period, you're actually going to drop. Why? Because there's only two gears in Islam. There's drive and there's reverse. There's no neutral. Neutral doesn't exist. You're either driving, you're going forward, or it's in reverse, you're going backwards. So whenever you feel you're not going forward, know 100% you're going what? Backwards. You're going backwards. And this is something extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. As students of knowledge, you don't want to fall into that trap. As students of knowledge, you need to be smarter than that. Your wealth goes up, your zakat needs to go up. Your knowledge goes up, your ibadah needs to go up. Your iman needs to go up. Your yaqeen in Allah needs to go up. Your hope in Allah's goodness needs to go up. Your fear of Allah needs to go up. You staying away from haram and makruh needs to go up. Your character needs to, you're going to get better. Your dealings with people need to get better. Your business dealings need to get better, etc. If it's not, then there's a big issue. And for the brothers that have been around for a while, 10, 15 years, we have our guests from young Umar, Allah Yazil Khair, old school days, JYC and the like, there's a lot of brothers that 10, 15 years ago, these were people that were just under the mashayikh in terms of their passion and their zeal and their work in the community. Fast forward 10, 15 years, and you find the beads have gotten a lot shorter. The ones that used to have his pants above the ankles, they're all now below the ankles. The one who would never accept his wife to wear a dodgy hijab, his wife is wearing half a hijab. They would never listen to music before, now their ringtone is music. Why? Why did they drop so far? If you go and talk to them, they know it's haram. They won't tell you, no, I've changed my opinion based on Islamic evidences. No, they won't tell you that. They know what they're doing is haram. Why did their iman drop so much? This is part of the tricks of shaitan. At the beginning, you're so pumped. Then you become content. When you become content, it means you're not moving forward. Golden rule. Again, memorize it. You're not moving forward 100%. What are you doing? Going backwards. Okay, so be very, very, very careful of that. Very careful. Continue.
Number 149. Ibrahim bin Ismail bin Majma' said, we would seek assistance.
Mujammi'. That's why I got the Arabic. I told you guys, get the Arabic. You didn't listen. Khalas. It's on you.
We would seek assistance in memorizing hadith by acting upon them.
See again, the words of the ulama in context. In context. How do you, what do you do with your narrations? You act upon them. Now, this is something that would assist in memorization. A lot of you, there will be things that you have memorized, and the reason you've even forgotten when you memorize or how you memorize it, but because you do it every single day, it's natural to you. It's like the back of your hand. When you do at-tahiyyat in your salah, a lot of you don't remember when you memorized it or when you learnt it, but because you do it every single day, it's second nature to you. Same thing with the afkar. If you do the afkar in the morning, in the evening before you sleep, etc., you memorize it. Then if there's something that you haven't done, let's say dua al-istiftah, when you first Allahu Akbar, and you say the dua when you first enter the prayer. If there's different narrations, the one that you haven't said in 6 months, try and remember right now, you've forgotten it. Or a dhikr in the morning, the evening. Sometimes you open up Husn al-Muslim, and there's a dua that you used to remember a year ago. How did you forget it? Because you didn't implement it. A chapter in the Quran, you haven't read it for a year. So now you've forgotten it. Natural. You forgot that which you didn't know. One of the ways the ulama ensure that they keep their memorization up is through the implementation of it. Because they remember the hadith, they implement it. And through the implementation, it comes back around where they hold on to that memorization. Jayyid. I did want to get into the next chapter, but again, I'll have a little bit of rahmah, inshallah. And we'll stop here and continue next week. هذا والله أعلم صلى الله عليه وسلم محمد وعلى آل محمد وصحبه أجمعين.